everybody? It's your boy Nick Ganley. I'm joined here with my great friend, colleague, and mentor Tyler Patterson.
Mentor, I like that.
Yeah, no, seriously, man, you taught me a lot.
Awesome, appreciate it.
But good way to pass the time while we're all kind of quarantining, social distancing, going through this is basically trying to continue to grow and educate ourselves and figure out how to be productive. And I think about a lot of the conversations that you and I have.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why I say mentor in certain aspects, because as far as the whole real estate spectrum and investing in business goes, you taught me a lot and we have awesome conversations. So that was kind of leading me to believe that other people might benefit from being privy to the kind of stuff we usually talk about.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. It all comes from humble beginnings and, starting from scratch and not really, coming from zero to building what you can build from nothing, so.
Yeah, man. And you and I relate a lot because we're basically self-starters,
Yes.
Dream big, take risks,
All in or nothing.
Work our butt off, and
there's no tiptoeing into anything that we do. It's all in or nothing.
It's all or nothing. 100%, 150%, as much as you can go. Just kind of throwing ourselves at what we do.
Yep.
So I think we could talk about a lot of stuff, but the main thing that we've been working on and that we've been doing and stuff is real estate investing.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And when I think about you, I don't even really see you as just a realtor anymore. When I think about what you actively do, who you work with on a day-to-day basis, my mind doesn't immediately just say realtor. I think real estate investor.
Yeah.
You got any opinion on that, or?
I'm definitely went hard with it from the beginning, from when I first got licensed and had, all in or nothing on it. I mean, when I started real estate school, I quit my job as a manager at Applebee's to join real estate school, not having a single sale under my belt. I literally dropped my whole career and was like, I'm just going to do this because that's how it is. So definitely real estate's a big part of what I do. And it still is a huge part of what I do, but it's also real estate investing and long-term wealth that I do side by side now with my real estate business. And I've been able to structure my real estate business in a way that allows me to also invest into real estate and run that side.
So. Yeah, let me ask you a question, because obviously you are a realtor. You list houses, you represent buyers, builders, new construction.
I work with a lot of investors in real estate too, even though I am one myself.
Right. So let's take it back a little bit. So when we first linked back up, just about, I don't know what it was, maybe just over a year ago, I feel like it was, it shows up on my Facebook timeline of when you were working on Black Swamp.
Black Swamp, yep.
But you flipped a couple houses before that. You were kind of really getting into flipping houses, right?
Yes.
So talk about how you got started with that and how that kind of process, what you think of all that. So what your experience was like.
So I definitely, when I got into the real estate game, as a realtor, right, I kind of wanted to find my niche in real estate, and I wanted to find it quickly. And I immediately hit the investor side of real estate, and I dove all head first into it. I mean, I would spend hours watching YouTube videos. I had mentors that were teaching me real estate investing. There was a local Delaware Real Estate Investors Association. I was going every month to those meetings and learning everything I could about. See, when people think about real estate investing, you immediately go to flips and rentals, right? Mm-hmm. But then what you don't realize is there's probably at least 10 different sides of real estate investing where you can make money. And people don't realize that. So I dove into all these different facets of real estate investing and what everything meant. So
kind of what caught your eye.
Yeah, I'm a big numbers guy. I like numbers. I'm a that's my thing. I'm definitely, love working with people, but numbers, I love it. Commercial side of real estate, love it. Why? It's numbers based, and I like it, figuring those out. So it's kind of crazy because the mentors that I had in real estate were actually flippers, right? But I wasn't their realtor. But they were actively teaching me, sometimes against their will. I would just show up to their job sites and
right. That's how you do it.
Or if they're saying, I'm headed to go look at a house with my realtor, like, well, do you care if I tag along? I knew who the realtor was, so it wasn't a problem, but I would literally tag along, like, how do you decipher your numbers? How do you break down your loan to value and what you can pay for this house? And so I actually learned from people, because people are willing to teach you if you ask them. They're not just going to open-handedly say, here, I will show you how to do this. But if you ask them, I would say 9 times out of 10, people will teach you what you want to know.
Right. And you have to make yourself an active participant in that learning process.
Correct.
Like when you were saying that, it just reminds me of me and you, bro. Whenever you're going to do something, I'm like, yo, can I come? And like, yeah. I'm just going to show up. I'm going to walk through. You're like, yeah, come. Just see what it's like. You can't just sit around and be like, oh, I'm looking for someone to teach me. You find someone who's doing it and you just
study them,
attach yourselves to them, bro.
Ask questions. They can answer them for you. So that's what I did. I had a few mentors that taught me flipping. And then when I felt like I was ready, I went in. I actually assembled my crew. So we'll get into this a little bit more because I have a different structure when it goes to construction now than I did before. So I assembled.
We'll kind of start with like a rough overview. And if we go into like more specifics in the future, then.
Yeah. So I bought a house. When that construction was complete, I bought another house. We immediately, because I had a crew that I was running, immediately jumped into that house. And I consistently bought probably 5 houses within a 6-month period to flip. I mean, all in or nothing. So I was like, if I'm going to put the crew together and everything, I'm going to make sure they have work. So I didn't just buy one, wait for it to sell, then buy another one. I just stacked the deck and said, here's my 5 houses. I'm going to go do this thing.
Yeah, because I guess that's kind of different too, because what I've learned is a lot of flippers now, they'll just subcontract out most of the construction, but you actually assembled the crew and were running a crew. So on top of flipping a house, you were also providing steady work for guys.
Yeah.
You added that level of responsibility on top of it right out of the gate.
Yeah, it's definitely. My bad, I missed that. It was kind of cutting out.
Yeah, I lost you for a second. But you kind of added that level of like responsibility on top of everything that you were doing.
It was insane. And
what do you think?
Being a full-time realtor, it was way more than I should have took on at the time. I got through it, fortunately. But, I have a full-time real estate business that requires a lot of hours, more than 40, I can tell you that. So now with the properties that I have now, I do it differently than I did before. That was my intro into real estate investing, right? So figured out.
You're going to make mistakes. You're going to try things. You have to try things and really experience them to figure out what's going to work best for you.
Yeah, definitely. And I was also basically general contracting and building my house at the same time my last 3 flips were going on. So that didn't help.
Your personal house.
My personal house, yes.
Right.
So a lot to take on at a short period of time. But you know.
So you got in there, you did 5 flips back to back to back to back to back.
Yes.
And then you kind of eased off the gas pedal a little bit.
Yeah, I think I sold my last one it was February or March. I sold my last flip, and then I had just finished my house in March and moved back into my house in March when it was rebuilt. Okay, so my house was complete. My flips were gone. It was March, so I took probably, I would say, the rest of the year to kind of refocus and I went real hard into my real estate and, created some capital, built some capital. And I really took to kind of study more, figure out the different sides of real estate. I knew if I got back into real estate investing, I didn't want to have a crew again. I wasn't even sure I wanted to get into flips anymore after doing those 5 flips. Mm-hmm. They were great, but not as great as people think they are. I made money, so don't get me wrong, but I think that it took away from and of course building my house too, but took away from my real estate business, which was the real bread and butter, right? That pays the bills. And I think I could have made more money in my real estate business had I put the attention towards that versus doing those flips.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You're probably right. But what you did gain aside from just the money is the experience though. And when
I learned a lot about construction.
yeah, when you talk about real estate investment, or you talk about representing investors, working with investors, even talking with clients, because clients, especially buyer sellers, they need GC help. They need general contract help, meaning they need work done to their house. And you have all those connections. You've dealt with a lot of those issues.
Yeah.
So you understand that more than just, oh, here's a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,300 CR school district. This is the price that we should try to sell it at. Your knowledge goes actually into how a house is constructed, how ductwork is ran, different types of septics, how much they cost, how long they take to install, how much it takes to redo a bathroom, a well, blah blah blah, roof.
And what an actual cost of that would be realistically. It's actually funny. I was just listening yesterday or the day before. I was just listening to there's a podcast, Bigger Pockets, ironically about real estate investing. So I listened to Bigger Pockets podcast. There's a girl on there, and they were talking about how she had her flip under contract, and she poured concrete floors inside the house. They're real beautiful, like sparkly concrete floors. This is a different market, right?
Mm-hmm.
Under contract, 2 weeks before settlement, the home inspector said that there's an underlying leak in the property, and you're going to have to rip out all these floors, okay? So immediately the agent says, you can't buy this house, backs their buyers out, they move out, okay? 2 weeks later, another agent comes in. She says, here's my home inspection, last home inspection, or whatever it is. That agent, then with his experience, because he had construction experience, gets a GC in to find out it was just a hose bib leak. Didn't have to rip up the floors. So then people actually got the house that was under contract. So it's like that different experience where what can construction do for you in the realtor world? It's those little things, having those connections. Like I have the GCs, the roofers, the siding, the wells, the plumbers, all those
right.
to figure out problems. It's just in that kind of situation,
Yeah. Dude, flipping a house, man, is nuts.
It's crazy.
It is nuts, especially when you do like a complete tear down almost, and you do new septic, new roof, down to the studs, new plumbing, new electrical. Like
I should mention, I actually will.
And stuff always comes up, man. You can't.
Always.
It's
so
crazy people do it.
2 of my flips were double wides on permanent foundations. To renovate a double wide on permanent foundation, you literally have to gut the place and rebuild it. Mm-hmm. So of course I took on 2 of those, which were major renovations. One I spent $60,000 and the other I spent almost $85,000-$90,000 in. It's crazy in renovations.
Right. But the thing I think is worth more than the money is the experience, dude.
Yes.
And now you can carry that forward. So I'd say you probably took the foot off the gas pedal for the flips.
Yep.
Really focused on the team, building the real estate team, getting all that situated, building the brand, Patterson Group, and something changed.
Yeah.
Something changed. What's going on?
It was kind of crazy. I was writing out my goals for 2020. And I was ready to jump back into real estate investing. So I hadn't touched a house since March when I sold my last flip. I work with investors. So I was, at the time, our market was pretty dry when it came to finding deals and finding houses. And I was making sure I was keeping my investors fed because those are my guys and they do this full time. So the deals I was getting that I could flip, I would send to my investors so that they could flip, right? Mm-hmm. So it was a kind of crazy situation. I was writing out my goals for 2020, and my goal was to have 20 rental properties. So I want to have 20 doors by the end of 2020, okay? Mm-hmm. And literally 2 weeks later, you bring me a deal.
Right?
It wasn't even 2020 yet, but it was like almost like speaking it into existence. Yeah. 2 weeks later, you bring me a crazy deal, and I think we should definitely talk about that because how that whole thing shut down was insane.
It was kind of funny because I was getting a crash course in everything real estate
Yep.
just from being around you. And it was winter time, so I'm not out doing my regular business, which is landscaping. And
Yep.
I was when I first started my landscaping company, I actually saw what you're doing flipping houses, and I liked it, but you can't just jump in and do it. You got to like you have to really spend a lot of time around somebody. How do you walk into a house and judge how much is this going to cost to fix?
I probably spent 2 years mentoring before I bought my first house.
Yeah, it's intimidating
Mhm.
because before you go in there and get your hands dirty and work with people that you can really trust and really tell you what's going on, you don't know. So um, I was kind of starting to learn all these things, and I went out to do like a power washing quote, and the people were talking about, yeah, we're going to sell this property, and got a whole ton, probably like 20, 30 other rental properties that we're going to think about selling. And I was like, really? Like, this is interesting. This is a conversation that Tyler and I were just having, right?
Right.
So we got the info, chased it down, man, and I thought you were absolutely insane, bro. I really did, man. I just really did, because you picked up the 4 unit, the 2 unit, and the house in
Uh,
Camden,
yeah, 4 unit, 2 unit, a single family home, and then there was 2 other single family homes that I sold to another investor.
and then other two
To one of
so
my investors, so I fed
yeah,
my investors too.
3 single-family homes, a 4 unit apartment, and a 2 unit apartment is a
Yep.
deal that you ended up doing off of that. And
Yep.
like that's the first time I'd ever seen something like that go down up close. It freaked me out, man.
Didn't even know how I was going to get the funding for all this.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, do you want to talk about funding?
Yeah. Well,
Touch on.
let's go back to that deal though.
What do
I
you want
think
to do first? Yeah.
let's talk on that deal. It's kind of funny. You brought me those it's 5 houses, right? So it was
Mhm.
4, 5, 6, 9 doors, 5 houses.
Yep.
Um, and you said the guy just wanted you to make an offer. And
Right.
they were all rented, so you'd have to do 48-hour notice to get in. And what did it take me? An hour, and I wrote on a piece of paper and I said, "Here's my offer."
Had the offer ready.
Yeah, we didn't
Yeah.
even leave the office, sight unseen.
Yeah, you said you sat down with a piece of paper and a pen. It was like, okay, well, this one, if this is bringing in this much rents, and this is the cap rate, and this is the interest that the loan's going to carry, and
Yep.
dude, it was like blew my mind. But there's different equations for all those different situations.
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't even seen the properties
Sight
yet.
unseen.
Sight unseen, and I said, "Here's my offer." The next day, he shot me a counter. I took the counter, and we were under contract on $500,000 in real estate, and I hadn't even seen it yet.
I know. I remember you called me and you're like, so I guess I'm about to go walk through the 4 unit apartment complex that I just bought. Cross your fingers that it's all okay. How do you
I made sure that now realistically though, I made sure in my contract I had the due diligence to walk through before I actually had to apply it. So I
Yeah.
did protect myself on it, but I shot him an offer. He took it, and it was a great deal for both of us. So,
Mhm.
um,
How do you sleep at night? Nah, for
Well,
real, man.
I guess-
What do you
I guess-
mentally have to tell yourself when you are walking into a deal like that, especially sight unseen? You have the due diligence put in, but still, when you put the ink on the contract, you're pretty much prepared to roll. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, you're gonna buy the property is pretty much what's gonna happen. I
Right.
mean, I ended up buying them after walking them. Of course, I renegotiated my numbers a little bit more,
Mhm.
which the seller agreed to, and I bought them. There was a good deal. I'm actually thrilled to have all those properties now. I have great tenants in them. I've renovated them all. They're all renovated and up to par and up to code and everything else. They're going to create wealth for the next 20 years unless I decide to sell them early.
so that basically jump started you. So how many doors did you pull down on that deal? Is that 9? Is that what we said?
I sold 2 of them to another investor. So I bought
So that was 7.
So it was my first rental properties, and I bought 7 doors at one time.
That was the very beginning of the year.
Yep, that was in December. I closed them in January, I think.
Yeah, so that basically jump started you, and but you have the kind of things in place. I mean, you have the lending side set up. You have the crew that can go in and handle all those issues, that can gave you the good quotes.
Yeah. So now actually I use a GC. So I have one guy, I give him the scope of work. He goes and knocks it out. I pay him and he's done. And
Right.
it's a beautiful system because I can continue to focus on real estate sales while real estate investing. And of course, it's somebody I trust. And actually, it's one of my mentors that taught me the game. That
Right.
is now he does his own properties, but he's scaled as well and can GC my projects as well.
Yeah. So then at that point, you're like, all right, I want to do this. Just picked up 7. What do you do next?
So
Pick up another one, right?
So I bought a hoarder house down in Milford. It was great.
Oh, the hoarder house?
That was my next one. Was the one down in Milford, the hoarder house. Again, completely packed out. I can't even see anything because there's just stuff in the entire house. I mean, I can't. How do you inspect a house that's completely packed out with junk, right?
Yeah, that thing was packed, dude.
It was bad. So I pretty much assumed the worst, ran my numbers, and got that one for a great deal. And that's should be ready in the next couple of weeks, actually. So I picked up that, and then what kind of happened was coronavirus hit, and there was all of a sudden it seemed like all the investors kind of disappeared from when we're used to putting in offers on houses, and it's always you're getting 5 offers on the house, and it always drives the price up, right? All of a sudden everybody disappeared, and there was
even complete, like a condemned house.
Yeah. I mean,
there's multiple offer situation.
Always. It was insanity out there. And of course, that's why I've built good relationships with wholesalers that actually can feed me. They know I'll close the deal, so then they'll feed me the deals. But those are always a dime a dozen. Like they don't come by very often, enough to feed what I need for my business. So I made a call to my lender, and I said, hey, I think there's a huge opportunity to buy houses right now, and I'd like to take advantage and actually pick up quite a few houses while I can. And he gave me the green light for a certain amount that I could go ahead and fund. So now I think I'm under contract to buy 4 or 5 more houses.
I think it might be 5, man.
I think it's 5. I close one tomorrow. And then I think it's 4 more after that.
Is that the one in Harrington?
Yeah, the one in Harrington. Yep.
So now it's the rental game.
It's the rental game. One of those 5 I'm actually flipping, but I'm just hiring the job out to a GC. He's going to flip it for me. And so one of those 5 I'm going to flip. The other 4 are going to be rentals. So then that should put me at, what's that, 13 or 14 doors already in April. You know what? It is 5.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 5.
Yeah.
All right. So we are in the second week of April?
Yes.
So
I guess my goal was a little too slow.
Yeah, it's so with that being said, being an investor's agent, you still represent investors and help them find deals and actually mentor them on projects. Help actually GC a little bit on that stuff too, or just bringing different pieces of the puzzle together. But actually being an investor yourself adds invaluable little piece, you know what I mean? That intangible. So what would you say as far as investing? Give me like the top 3 most important things if someone was thinking about getting into real estate investing. What do you need to have in line? What do you really need to make sure is straightened out?
I would say most important is a mentor. My mentor, who is now a GC of mine, I walk him through houses that I strongly want to buy. And he tells me, Tyler, you're dumb. Walk away. Walk away. I'm not doing this house for you. I'm telling you, you're going to lose. Walk away. So having a mentor like that, even now to this point of my game, right, I see something different as in a rental aspect. Like, there's this big house I was thinking about buying. I was going to renovate and I was going to rent. It was a bigger house, about 3,000 square feet that I wanted to buy. And he's like, why would you do that when you can just go buy little ranches right now? And half the cost of what you put into that because it's bigger. So having a mentor is definitely number 1. Number 2 is dive into anything that you can, whether it be YouTube, your investors associations, local meetings, Facebook networking groups, and just pick apart different investors that have made the mistakes that you don't want to make. And that's what I did. I think that's why I was successful with my first 5 flips and doing it what I did, because I was lined up. I had 2 years of experience to back me up, to put me, kind of jumpstart me ahead a little bit. So have a mentor, increase your networking group. And then the third one is you have to be all in or nothing. There's no, I'm going to do this part-time and you think you're going to make money, because you're not. It's so important. You got to have, if you put your systems in place, if you can't give it your full attention, and know that your systems are going to work, and have a backup plan for everything that you do. So it's very much just more strategy than it's anything else. Like when we put those offers in on those deals, I had my strategy in place that enabled me to make those deals work no matter what. So if you just strategize and have your game plan together, then you'll be fine, and just expect not to get any sleep and put all your money back into your houses, because that's what it is.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, man. It's been a crazy ride so far, and I've learned so much, and it's what's made me realize more than anything that it's the first thing you said. It's a mentor.
Yeah.
Like if you don't, like, there's so much to be learned that's not going to be, and people can waste a lot of time and a lot of money trying to learn this stuff, because there's a ton of sharks out there, and people are sitting at home, they're watching, Love It or Listed or Flip This House or whatever, and they're thinking, oh, I should flip houses. There's a ton of people right now that are thinking, oh, I should be flipping houses.
It's so easy.
It's so easy, right? It's no big deal.
It's not. It's very stressful. But like I said, what the rule to real estate investing is, if you break even on your first house, then you won. Because most people lose on their first house, then give up and never get back into it, right? So that first one, don't expect to hit a home run. You're not going to. That's your learning curve. Maybe even your second or third, depending on how long it takes you. But then once you figure it out, you get through those humps, then you got to figure it out. And then you're not saying you're never going to hit a hump again, because you will, but you're more prepared. You have the systems in place. And that's the biggest thing, is just having your systems there, right?
Realistic expectations.
Realistic expectations, yes.
Right.
Not counting your chickens for your eggs hatch. That's a big one, because you never know.
That money's not in the bank until it's in the bank.
Correct. That's correct. So don't go ahead and spend the money that you think you're going to make on this deal before you actually make that money. Right?
Yeah. No. And I'm a huge numbers guy too. You and I, we can run numbers back and forth, but honestly, it's crazy, bro. You still lose me sometimes. I got to stop and I got to break it down. But that's because this is your full-time hustle. Like I'm not a full-time real estate guy. You know what I mean? And you are doing this 24/7 around the clock. You live it. This is how you pay your bills. It's how you help other people pay their bills.
Yeah.
So it almost, like, I feel like it's important for us to kind of talk and kind of get this stuff out, not only to educate people, because that's a huge part of it, because then people, a lot of times, especially just with realtors in general, like, they don't really realize that there's different levels. You know what I mean? There's different levels to every business, to every company. Not all are created equal. Especially if you're thinking about doing real estate investing, like, you should be in contact with the best people possible. It's not only to spread information, but to also kind of stop misinformation.
Yeah.
At the same time. And also because it's just interesting as hell, man.
It is. It's such great. Dude, where else? All right. Let's say anywhere from $0 to $10,000 you put down on a deal. Okay. You go in, you renovate it, you rent it. It's bigger pockets formula, right? So you go in, renovate it, rent it. And let's say you just created a $50,000 net worth increase on one shot, just like that, on a $0 to $10,000 investment that you're going to get back when you refinance it, right? So then you go and multiply that over 10 times. You just create a $500,000 net worth literally out of smoke and mirrors, right? And where else can you do that? Real estate is an incredible vehicle to really boost your wealth. And that's not even including the cash flow See, if you create
Cash flow is like an added bonus. The
so
rent every month is like a bonus. People don't kind of realize that.
listen, so I just refinanced my house into a 15-year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
My cash flow pays all my bills. So the money I make in real estate, I get to reinvest.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. So if my cash flow pays all my bills, all my real estate money minus taxes is my money to do with what I want, which then I can just reinvest.
Strategy, man.
Is all it is. And then you could just, now you go from 10 to 20 to 50 to 100. And then at that point, what do you do? Of course, my goal is to get into the bigger projects. I want the 50 to 100 unit apartment building. And I scale it that way. So, but so I've been able to, so if you go and you want to buy a $5 million apartment building, and you have to put $1 million down on that building, right?
Mm-hmm.
It seems astronomical, like you'll never be able to do it. But I just showed you how to create $500,000 in wealth in real estate. I'm halfway to my goal of what I want to do.
Right.
So if I have that equity, now I can use that to buy my apartment buildings.
Yep. Yeah. Of course, that lump sum seems big. Any goal seems big until you start chipping away at it, man.
That's all it is. And then, like I said, that cash flow, then you get to create wealth and equity with that cash flow. It pays all your bills. And then you keep reinvesting. And now you have that equity that you need to go and do the bigger deals to really scale your net worth, your cash flow, and your income. I mean, it's just, sky's the limit, right? And anybody can do this, because I didn't have $100,000 handed to me to go start my real estate investing business. I started with nothing. And, I don't come from anything, nothing like that. It was all built just in learning and what you can do. This is possible for anybody.
Yeah, there's no get rich quick scheme, man.
It's
nothing crazy like that. But you know what it is? 24/7 hustle, baby.
It
All
is.
day, every day, on the phone, online, talking to people. Like, just there's no stop. And
between the hustle and the
you gotta
work,
be prepared for it.
and then it's also the knowledge. Like, nobody's going to hand you the knowledge you need to real estate to be
You gotta school yourself, man.
You got to figure it out. I listened to the Bigger Pockets podcast. I've been listening to it for a long time. Great tool to start. Every time you drive, pop that on. Boom. I just learned something new about refinancing my rental portfolio. Learned it just the other day on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of free knowledge out there if you're willing to go get it.
Yeah. It's fascinating. We're not going to go too long this time, but I just kind of wanted to touch base on a couple little things.
You can tell I get excited about real estate investing.
I know you do, man. And seriously, I get done with a long day of landscaping. We start talking about different deals, different stuff out there. And then you start breaking down the numbers, and I'm hazy. I'm hazy a little bit, but
it's almost too good to be true.
I know. And it just, it invigorates you, and it's exciting to me. And now seeing it firsthand, kind of getting a more and more understanding of it, seeing how realistic it is and what the real mechanics look like. So,
and the beauty of working with investors is the house you're living in was flipped by one of my investors.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
One of my investors that I've been working with since day one, since their very first flip. Mm-hmm. Now they're on, I think, flip 7 and 8, I think it was. And now you get to live in one of their homes and see a product of their work,
Yeah. And I saw it from beginning to finish.
Yeah.
And we didn't realize, we didn't even think that we were going to buy it until it was relatively close to being done.
Yeah.
But also the level of work with this investor and the investors that you work with for the most part is top notch. So I bought my first home, which was a complete gut and flip it with 100% confidence, man. And you represented me as my realtor. It's fantastic.
I know. So I have my investor on one side, my good friend on the other, and it's it's one of our flips that we're doing that you're now living in. So it's kind of amazing. It's great. I mean, it's practically a brand new house.
It's a brand new house, dude.
And you got to see us walk through while we're designing the kitchen and going over the kitchen layout where it's completely gutted. Like how
I feel like you guys are crazy, especially when I first started walking through and we first started doing marketing and things like that. I was kind of just shadowing you, video and some stuff. And we walked in and I'm like, good God, this place is a disaster, bro. And you guys are in the kitchen, getting excited, looking at blueprints and stuff. And I'm like, these guys are nuts, dude. Like these,
Now
I'm
you're
like,
living in that house.
yeah, I know I'm living in it. I'm like, dude, I don't know what these guys are looking at, but I'm not seeing anything positive going on here. And I was like, you know what? I'll drop a whole mortgage on this house. It's fantastic. But you guys know how to make the connections, and it blows my mind, man.
And you're also taking the advice of what I've been telling you, and also looking into refinance to a 15. Good
Yeah,
for you.
it makes
Kudos
sense.
to you for that, man. I mean,
It makes sense. What do we? What's the chart? The
the amortization,
amortization chart.
it makes complete sense, doesn't it? It's insane.
It's a no-brainer, man.
And
It's a
this is your,
no-brainer.
and let's just be clear. This was your first house. You just bought it, what, 4 months ago?
3 months ago, almost
3 months ago,
solid.
and you're now already thinking about refinancing into a 15.
I want to refinance to a 15 as soon as possible.
And that's crazy, right?
I was talking to Shane, the guy who did the
Yeah.
mortgage. Obviously, you know who Shane is. Not everybody does. And I'm like, dude, run the numbers on my 15.
Yeah,
My
because you see
15 year. Let's get it
the
done.
value of building a wealth. What do wealthy people do? They don't hold a 30-year. They shorten into a 15 because it saves you $200,000 in interest.
Dude, we ran the numbers, and it was over $250,000 of interest that we would not pay switching to a 15. But even so, you switch into a 15, you're paying more principal up front.
Yes.
So the point, if I wanted to sell 6-7 years, I would have created that much more equity. If I wanted to sell 6 to 7 years now on a 30-year mortgage, I might have paid off something, but nothing substantial.
Not only are you attacking the principal more, while at the same time it's appreciating, which is why real estate investing is great, because
It's always going to go up.
asset.
Yeah. Average of 1% a year, I think, is what it's kind of rocking right now.
Is it? I think it might be a little more than that.
I think it's a little bit more right
It's
now. Yeah. Is it 3?
3 to 4.
I think average is 1%.
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't know where I got that number from.
I think 3 to 4% compounding.
Yo, I was talking about doing the 15-year and setting up biweekly payments at the same time.
Yeah.
Throw as much money as possible. It's an investment, right? People always say it, but they don't really think about what the words mean. Buying a home is the biggest investment you'll make in life. It's an investment. Look at it like an investment.
If you refied into a 15, held that house for 5 years, okay, and then said, Tyler, I'm ready to sell my house, you could literally get a check for $100,000.
Absolutely.
Isn't that insane?
Yep.
It's
not insane. It's just numbers.
Living in a house right now, instead of paying rent, you're paying mortgage. You're paying a hefty mortgage because you got a 15. Let's not joke about it, right?
Right. It's substantial.
But in literally 5 years, you could walk away with $100,000. Asterisk, if the market is still appreciating and everything.
Sure. Nothing's guaranteed.
Right.
People always need a place to live.
But it's true. And then now you have $100,000 that what? Then you can put down on your next house or invest with or do whatever and create wealth with it.
Right. And it's also it's a whole other thing of you have to open your eyes and take an honest inventory of everything going on in your life.
Yeah.
With your relationships, with your finances, with your mortgage, you know what I mean? The most important thing in your life, sit down, look at the numbers. What do the numbers say? What's my 30-year mortgage? What's my payoff? How much am I going to have paid? You know what I mean? Like,
and similar to like when I put all those houses under contract, right? It's just doing it, figuring it out, knowing what you want to do, and then getting it done, and then figuring it out later, right? So,
that's a point I forgot when we were connecting A to B. It's also refinancing to a 15. Because we're totally off topic, but who cares, right? We're just talking real estate. So it's paying a 15. The mortgage is that much more expensive, but the way that we do things is, okay, let's do that because that's a smart thing to do. How am I going to make the extra $500 a month? Get out there and make it. You know what I'm saying? Like, bam, that's my mortgage is now. I need to work that much harder.
And that's a good point though. So your mortgage shaved in half. It went from 360 80 payments, right?
I'm sorry, you're breaking up a little bit.
The crazy part of so your mortgage went from 360 payments to 180 payments, right?
Right.
The crazy thing is your mortgage didn't double.
It didn't double.
No. By a third it went up.
Mm-hmm.
So by a third it went up. So it's not like it's astronomical. It didn't double on you. It's just a little bit more. You figure out what you need.
So let's just say if it's a 30%, if it was a $1,500, it went to $2,000.
Yeah.
Didn't double, but you're paying it off in half the time.
And creating equity, because like I said, most people, believe it or not, most people actually sell their home in about 5 years, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
After 5. But then because of the 30-year mortgage, they have no equity because all their payments go to interest. And that's part of the problem with real estate. If you just did a 15, you create substantial equity.
Mm-hmm. And we're not selling mortgages.
No, we have.
Have you sold any mortgages lately?
No, I argue with mortgage lenders all the time because I'm trying to get all my stuff done. So, and I know it's just about knowledge in real estate and just
right. We're not on here selling mortgages. This is just the stuff that makes sense. These are the conversations that we just have. This is like almost like the fundamental of our friendship is business, and
we enjoy it. We dive into these things and figure out how to create wealth. You know, both you and I, you know, we weren't handed a bunch of money to go out and start any businesses with. So we have to start from zero and create wealth, long-term wealth. I have a daughter, right? So I want to leave her with wealth. I don't want her to struggle. And creating that just life.
You're hungry for it. I'm hungry for it.
Yeah.
Work for it together. And if anyone watches this and they're interested and they want it, maybe we can answer some questions, man.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I love this part of my business. And I love seeing people like you taking off into real estate the way you did. I love seeing that because you get it. I mean, you didn't at first, but you were hungry and you learned and now you understand it. And we talk all the time about you possibly getting into real estate investing because you see it. You know, one of my agents on my team just bought his first rental property. So he's like, he's like, Tyler, I don't get it. Like the ways that you do things, it's almost a no-brainer. It is a no-brainer. That's why I'm buying 10 in a 4 month.
Yeah, and now he's starting to experience it and realizing what actually takes, having gone through the process, is ready for more.
He makes his payment. He cash flows about $600 a month. Mm-hmm. Now, we just talked about switching into a 15-year, right? How much did your payment go up?
$200.
Oh, well, use the 500.
No. Oh, off the cash flow.
Yeah, so $500.
It's 500. So what? 130.
Created it. I mean, that's an extra $7,200 a year that he just created, given maintenance and repairs. But the great thing about these is a lot of times we're buying them, we're renovating them, so we're getting all the big costs out of the way, and we're going to be able to hold on to these things for 10, 15 years without any major repairs because we just did them all in the beginning before we rented it, right?
Oh yeah, and then we talk about refinancing after 12 months and all those other things.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, man. And getting into investment, rental properties, things of that nature, it's not if, it's like a matter of when for me, because it's what makes the most sense. And it's what I see successful people doing and continue to being successful and generate more wealth. So that's what I'm going to get into. It's a matter of time.
Let's say average real estate appreciates at 3%, right? Mm. So if you own $100,000 home, then it gained $3,000, right, in appreciation. Right. But if you own $1 million in real estate, it's $30,000. You own $10 million in real estate, that's $300,000 appreciated. Like, it's insane, right?
Yeah, and you scale.
It's just scaling. So, and you could do it. It's very easy. Show you how to roll a capital that you have and just roll a deal to deal, and you can just keep buying more and more and more with that same capital that you started with, and just, you know, it's free flow. So I love it.
It's fun, man.
It's so much fun.
I love it.
Especially because I don't have to swing a hammer. I could. I just don't want to.
Yeah, I know, man. Yeah, one of these days I'll be able to put the mulch shovel down. So
at least I can, 29. Say that I've flipped 5. We got 2 more on the books to flip, and own 7 rentals, or about to. So, it's pretty crazy. And I never thought back when I was Applebee's manager that I'd be in this position I am now. I knew I was going to do it some way, but this was before real estate was even in my realm of ideas, right? But as soon as I jumped into real estate, I knew I was going to do it. And I just jumped, went all in on it. And I'm so happy I did.
Yeah.
So happy.
And you taught me so much. And I think that there's a lot of people that could benefit from learning stuff like this. So that's why I kind of wanted to jump on and make this happen. So we'll see what kind of response we go on and make more. We'll just keep recording our conversations because this is how our normal conversation sounds anyway.
I like this, man. This sounds good. So
all right.
I like the free flow conversations. Informal. We don't have notes and we just kind of talk.
Yeah, it's just real.
Conversations are good that we have. We have some, I think high aspiration conversations, and it's pretty good stuff.
Absolutely, man. Yep. I appreciate it. And so we'll just leave it at that for now.
That sounds good.
And we'll just see where it goes.
Nice seeing you. I haven't seen you for a while. Kind of
I know, brother. I know, man. Listen, the grass is growing. I'm out there cutting all that, doing all that lawn barber stuff, man. Plus, we're not really able to see each other, but
social distancing.
We'll link up.
Yeah. This has been fun, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, dude. And so we'll just see how it goes, and we'll do some more. But I'll get this all uploaded. If anybody's got any questions, just comment, just shoot messages, see what other kind of material, because we could go into so many different subcategories.
Dude, I mean, we could spend 24 hours easily.
What could we talk about? We could talk about financials, lending, all the different types, evaluating a deal. Whether it's a flip, whether it's a rental.
Dude, you want to hear something crazy? And I'll leave this. This is a good thing. So it's about being creative, right? Mm-hmm. So we won't get into all this, but how I bought all my properties and how I did it. We'll save that for another time, right? Yeah. So like back in right now, commercial real estate loans have took a dump because of everything going on. Whereas the rates were like 5%, and they were loaning 80, sometimes 85% on your appraisal value.
Right. The LTV.
Yeah. Commercial lending right now is just absolutely, I mean, because everybody's pulling their money out. So there's no money to lend. Interest rates are up, and they want like 70% now LTV instead of what was 80%. I mean, 10% is a huge difference on a $200,000 house. That's 20 grand.
Yeah.
So got creative. I reached out to some people I know from networking, right? And asked if they would like to do a private financing on my refinances at a certain interest rate, interest-only payments to increase my cash flow. Mm-hmm. So
created your own lending opportunities.
It's insane, right? It's insane. I just wanted to leave it. I think that was a good nugget just to leave it, because so many people are like, oh, but I already know like commercial lending right now is taking a dump. Well, I found some private lenders that are actually going to
find a solution. That's all that we do, man. And that's how you build, is you just continue to find solutions for problems.
Yeah.
There's no roadblocks. There's just detours, man.
Yeah.
How about that? How about that for a nugget to leave it off of? You like that? We're going to put that on a t-shirt or something.
Hey man, there's a lot of people out there that would love a bigger return than what the stock market's giving them. If they have the capital, they'll.
You want to start talking about stock market too?
We can.
No, we're not gonna do that right now, but we can.
I invest into that too. I have a whole different strategy though, but that's another video.
All right, dude. Well, I'm gonna close it up, man.
All right, buddy.
Nice talking to you.
Yeah.
All right, later, dude.